spite of what we all go through in this human family, how much we've hurt one another, how much we've caused each other joy, to laugh and to smile, but primarily how much we have hurt one another and abused one another, took advantage of one another, lied on one another. We come to understand that in all of that discord in relation to the human family, the human being, in the aftermath, are you still able to love? I'm not talking about a romantic-based love, but are you able to love from the depths of your heart and mind? There's a lot of us walking around. We've been hurt so deeply that what happens is the pain of that hurt, the inner self, that is that dual component, which is our own selves. You know, a lot of people say, the devil, Satan, the devil. Regardless of how religion has created this figure, this evil presence, and they've manifested him. They put this thing into a human form, to where they put it in books and paintings, to where you can look right at it. What we're going to have to understand, what is most important to understand, is to be responsible for your own actions. Because as long as religious doctrine has you looking outside of yourself and at this figure that has been known as the devil for centuries, we will never be able to properly and effectively look right at ourselves and our own flaws. I tell a lot of people, and I told these two young men that I was talking to not too long ago, and they had brought up the subject of the devil, you know, the whole devil thing. I had told them that do not be surprised that when this realm, this earthly realm, once this time has come to an end, do not be surprised when the Creator reveals this Satan entity, this devil individual. And when you look at him, you're going to see your face. And you will come to realize it has always been you. From day one, the challenge has forever been ourselves. You know how people say, the devil made me do it. The devil didn't make you do anything. This demonic entity that is sitting up in us, when we go through trials and tribulations, as they say, and we come upon a situation within its nature is demanding the worst of ourselves. And what is meant of that, in case someone doesn't understand, there's certain environments that are set up to where you venture into these environments and someone has calculated certain things within that environment that once you get in these environments, you are supposed to react to those inadequately. Instead of responding to those adequately. You know, when people expect the worst from you, it only implies that they only expect the worst of themselves because they've already set up the environment. So this environment is created in order for you to respond or react inadequately. So that if you fall for it, or if you allow your intellectual state to be manipulated by your hurt emotions or your anxiety, and then it contaminates your intellect to perceive that I'm gonna react this way. And so you react emotionally inadequately, and then the individual who set up the environment wins. Because you reacted according to the environment that was set up. So when people expect the worst from you, show them otherwise. Show them otherwise. I've been into a lot of environments of where people expect Brother David to go off, I know what he's going to do because I know Brother David. See, what it is very arrogant, or I would even use the word blasphemous, for anyone to assert that they know your entire person. No one knows one another because we, in fact, don't know ourselves wholly. Because if you are paying attention, every day has a lesson. Each day has a lesson. And you venture into this day, and if you're really paying attention, you're going to learn something about not only the world, but yourself. So people who assert that they know you is basically asserting that you're in death. Because the only way that you can claim that you know anything, that person has to have died and passed on. But when you are standing back observing a human being or an animal or anything that is living, including looking at the sky, how the clouds are moving, or if you're out in the night and you're looking up at the stars, you can't determine when you're going to see what is called a shooting star. You can't determine that. The same as you can't look at a living human being and assert to know exactly what next move they're going to do, what next word they're going to speak. So those people who assert that they know you, know not. These are the people who have already condemned you as being a dead human being. So within their minds, they've condemned you. Basically, they've killed you. And so when they condemn you, they expect the worst from you, but they're not looking at themselves. They never take the time to look at themselves. They claim that you're demonic. Oh, he's going to hell. He's the devil. All of these things. But in thinking like that, speaking like that, what you're claiming he is and what you're claiming is his eternal demise, what state of mind are you in at that very moment? Do you think that's holy? It's not holy, especially considering the knowledge and the graphic information that is in your books, whether it be the Bible or the Quran, of what hell contains. How could you as a human being would wish that upon anyone? See, in speaking like that, this hell that you claim exists is just sitting up inside of you. You know, hell is not in the ground. It's a state of being. And that state of being dwells inside of you. This is the reason why I told these young men, do not be surprised if those who have caused their own demise are revealed that they are the devil, that they've always talked about and actually feared. However, through their behavior towards humanity says otherwise, because your behavior reflects where your moral standards exist. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you know. It is your behavior towards other people and therefore humanity. And if you look at these books, you can study all you want. But there's very few places where it talks about behavior. It suggests behavior. I mean, the same way your demonic presence inside of you suggests to do something. Hey, punch that guy in the face. Close her mouth. You don't need to listen to her. She talked too much. That's you. That's your demonic suggestion. Talking to your rational self. And that's the reason why you're not committing the act. At that moment, you're listening to your demonic rationality. You know, this demonic, this deceptive intelligence. Go ahead and do this. Go ahead and do that. And then when you fail in your rationality and become one with your demonic self, you make a conscious decision to become one with that and you act upon it. That's when your behavior becomes inadequate. The challenge is you. It's not someone in your environment. This is the reason why a lot of times we make mistakes and we think certain things of people and we end up hurting them because we're looking at them based upon what hurt us in the past, that gave us that perception of a certain person because we've been hurt. Our mind's been warped. And the reason why we're still thinking that way is because we haven't took the time to deal with ourselves. When it gets to the point to where you're hurting others and you feel justified in hurting others, know that you are operating on the same demonic presence that you accuse that other person of. I've heard people say, Dave, you walk around here like you don't do anything wrong. We all do things that are wrong. As I said before, each day of my life, I'm observing me. Even when I'm at work and I'm on these buses at night doing security, I'm, of course, keeping the people safe on the bus. But I'm still studying David. I'm watching David. You better believe I am. I'm watching what I say. When a circumstance just all of a sudden just randomly comes, I make certain that simply because something comes randomly, my mind and my responses have to line up with what is right. So this is the reason why I say I don't have time to observe other people. I'm too busy dealing with oneself. This is the reason why I said in a previous video, I know no one more complicated, more messed up than David, because I'm observing him, I'm dealing with him. I'm not concerned about other people. Now, of course, you don't walk into a situation asserting that you're better or less than anyone, because the proper way, to my understanding, of living in the present, it implies that any information that you have accumulated of the past should in the present remain in the past. You shouldn't even compare, because each day you're going to learn something brand new, because each day that you live is new. Each day. Now, even if your imagination or your level of intelligence can come up with these comparisons in the present in terms of what happened in the past, throw that away, because comparisons get in the way. It doesn't do anything but create a screen in the present, and so you're not seeing the very present clearly, because now you're looking at the present moment through the screen of the past, of what was. This happens far too often. This is the reason why we, as a human family, should always sit and communicate so that we may be able to know one another, get to know one another at that present moment, and understand that being involved with this person is a journey of getting to know them and them getting to know me. So there should never be any endings when each day is a beginning. So living this life, it could be complicated, but you can make it complicated. When I was coming up in Chicago, in spite of everything that was about my environment, the drugs, alcohol, the gang violence, the robbings, the killings, the abuse of women, the abuse of children, the abuse of brothers, whether they was teenagers or not. I've seen people shot and killed in the street. There was times I was walking home from school, and I've stepped over bodies. I've stepped over corpses in the street. On my way home from high school, I stepped right over bodies. And people say, how did you deal with that? I chose not to deal with it. I chose not to look back. Who is that? Go up, touch the body, turn the body over. No, because I knew that was going to affect me. Now, does that imply that I'm weak and I can't handle things? No, not at all. I did not want to record that because I knew that that was going to affect me. I was trying to get home from school. That's all I was trying to do. Whatever happened between that person and someone else, I can't let that affect me. Because I was living in Chicago and I was living in the city to where there's no telling what you're going to see. Each day that you live, I was in high school when I stepped over this body on the way home. I didn't even tell my mother. I didn't tell my uncles. I didn't tell my great-grandmother. I just came in and laid down. Of course, I thought about it, because our curiosity is always activating. I wonder what happened. I wonder who that was. I wonder if that was somebody that I know. I wonder if that was one of my uncle's friends and stuff. Those type of thoughts come to you. But I perceived my state of curiosity at that time non-beneficial. I had to protect me. I had to protect my mind. I had to protect my spirit. Because that was abnormal to me. That wasn't normal to me, to see someone laying on the sidewalk dead. And mind you, this was on the street called King's Drive, based upon Dr. King. This was 95th and King's Drive. I lived on 87 in Calumet. I've watched my friends become alcoholics, drug addicts. I've watched my friends get into relationships far too early, like in their 7th and 8th grade, and children came about, and there was never no marriage, in which harm the children. I'm not saying every one of them came about like that. However, when you are in school, like in 7th and 8th grade going into high school, your mind shouldn't be on that. And a lot of people that I knew coming up in Chicago grew up in an environment that seemed normal, but it was actually hostile. And this is one of the reasons why they felt that it was okay to get into relationships other than concentrating on their education. Now, I was a very shy guy. I was shy, and I wasn't considered attractive back in those days. And that used to bother me. But as I got older, I came to realize that my shyness, my looks that a lot of women felt wasn't attractive, was my protective hedge. And not only from them, but I wasn't able to look in a mirror and become conceited. And then the next thing you know, this arrogance comes up. And you out there walking behind girls and women talking about, hey baby, let me get your number, and all of those things. I didn't have to suffer that. So when your life is destined to serve humanity, it's not an easy walk. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. It can be done. I didn't pick up any habits. I've been out here in Las Vegas since 1987. No smoking, no drinking, no drugs, not sleeping with prostitutes, anything like that. I had a sex addiction when it came to black women because I'm strongly attracted to black women. I love black women. I love them. I hate their attitudes. But to me, the black women that are natural, who don't have all that extra garbage on them, I'm very attracted to black women. And so I developed a sex addiction because I was sleeping around with a whole lot of black women when I was driving the bus. So none of us is innocent, and none of us is guilty of everything. That's the point. See, because when you condemn somebody because of a portion of their being, you're condemning the entire person. You're saying in your condemnation, there's nothing good about this person. This person is going to hell. Or you going to hell. And the only reason why that can come out of your mouth is because you're already there. You're already there. And when you're dealing with human beings who are racist, who are biased, who are manipulative, all of those things, eventually those relationships are going to end. But do they necessarily have to end? That's the whole thing. See, we have this bad habit of throwing people away. Some of us can deal with it. I know I can. I've been thrown away plenty times. I've gotten so used to it, it doesn't even bother me anymore. And I had to even read into that. Has it made me cold? Has it made me rigid? No, because I chose not to become cold. I chose not to become rigid. So that's a whole nother challenge, the cause and effect. So a lot of people think that they reject you. What it is, they've just lost the battle of themselves, and they've given themselves over to that demonic force that is not outside their body. Demonic force that has watching over them and no. It's you. The devil is you. Satan is you. It's you. We were created by a dual creator. Dual creator. He created good and it created evil. And it tells you, I, the Lord, do all these things. And if you are an extension from that, so do you. You do those things too. My question is, when Yeshua had said in the Beatitudes, he said, be ye therefore perfect, as your Father in heaven is also perfect. Now people may say, okay, if the Creator is perfect, then why did the Creator create evil? Why does the Creator allow evil to transpire? Because evil exists. Simple as that. And you still have a choice The battle is within you. And the reason why the laws and the commandments were even created is because the battle is within you. You're a God and you're a devil. You're both. Just accept it. Accept it. The whole thing is, which part of yourself do you want to execute to the world? Which part of yourself brings you peace? Peace of mind. What part of yourself brings you peace of mind? In spite of the effects of this society and how very rude and vulgar and repulsive this society is because of us. We created this society that a whole lot of us are conforming to, that's causing us self-destruction inwardly. We have to understand that religion is not going to do it. Fasting, praying, that's not going to do it. Oh, I'm going to fast for 2 weeks. The only thing you're doing is torturing your flesh. That's all you're doing. It doesn't take torture. It doesn't take not eating, not drinking. It's perception. How do you want to live? Because you have an option. You have an option. We've been given an option. Turning from your wicked ways. Choice. Go and sin no more. Choice. It's you. Change me, Lord. No, you change it. If the Creator is telling you or us, if you would turn from your wicked ways, then I will hear. It's telling you, you turn from your wicked ways. I'm just standing, I'm just waiting for you to act like you got some damn sense. And when you get to the point to where I don't have to harm you in order for you to turn from your wicked ways, then I'll know you're honest. But if you have to suffer, oh Lord, please, please, that's not honest. That's not honest at all. You're just in turmoil. And how many people have you seen? As soon as that time of turmoil has ended, they revert back to being their arrogant selves. Plenty of times. Plenty of times. The whole thing is, what makes us better than the next person is our state of morality. You have some people who choose to do evil. It's a choice. And you have some people who choose to live righteously. And believe me, the people who choose to do evil, they're at peace with what they do. The same as the people who choose to do good, they're at peace at what they do. You can't tell anyone who chooses to live unrighteously that they're wrong. That's how they've chosen to live, and they're at peace with that, regardless of what they do. One of the primary reasons why it seems as though they don't have a conscience when it comes to what they do is because they're at peace with what they're doing, in spite of who perceives it as evil. So with all of this being said, I want a lot of us to understand that good and evil, it's you. God and the devil, it's you. You were created, so you're an extension of God. But that demon, that devil, that satanic presence, it's got your face on it because you chose it. It's sitting up in you. It suggests you to do things. And the moment your conscious will becomes one with the will of this demon sitting up in you, which is your worst half, and you execute it, there is no devil outside of yourself that you can blame, because that devil is you. If we would take the time to look at ourselves and become responsible for what we do, imagine what type of earth is going to come about with that. So who is this earth going to belong to without clashing with one another, without judging one another? Oh, you're evil. Oh, you think you're better than everyone. It says the meek is going to inherit the earth. What meek? You talking about the good people? No, the people who are humble, who have decided not to choose any side. Right? Because this language that I'm speaking, that we all speak, everything that we know, let's not forget, this is the knowledge of good and evil. And the reason why the Creator told them to stay away from that is because it was a constitution that was contradictory and demonic. So a lot of people may say, well, you're saying that when you say that God told them not to touch the tree, isn't that a part of the knowledge? Look at the environment right now, the different languages, the religious world, the political world. What happened in Exalt Ministries was behind information and people who didn't take enough time to really look at themselves. This happened in the Nation of Islam when Brother Malcolm, that led to Brother Malcolm assassination. Look at how the so-called body of Christ turned their backs on Brother Dr. King when he started speaking against war. They turned their backs on him. Information. When he did what was right, Brother Malcolm did what was right. He did what was right. That's all they did was what was right. And they were still assassinated. They were still condemned. There was a brother that told me Judas went to hell. I said, how is it that Judas went to hell? When he was a part of what y'all call prophecy in order to get Yeshua to the cross. How else was he going to get there? Had Judas not betrayed his trust and told the Romans where the disciples were hiding? Because obviously the church and Rome didn't know where they were. It took someone within to tell them where they were at. He said, someone is going to betray me. Prophecy. That's prophecy. What's going to come forth? So was Jesus a prophet? In that sense, he was. He was also an apostle. He was also a messenger. He was all of those things. And that's one of the reasons why he's called the Messiah. Now, when what he said of being betrayed manifested as Judas Iscariot, that led him to the cross. And he was assassinated. Now, according to religious doctrine, it was prophecy. So I'm just going to deal with this based upon religious prophecy due to the fact that I've only heard religious people say that Judas went to hell. If Judas fulfilled exactly what he was supposed to have done to get the Messiah to the cross, he fulfilled his purpose. And when you fulfill your purpose, you explain to me, why would the Creator who set all of that up send Judas to hell? Now, people may say it's because he killed himself. He hung himself. Why? Because he couldn't live with what he did because he loved the Messiah so much? I would think that could be excused, you know. And that's all of this is the folly of information. It's the folly of information that's got us all messed up. But you have eyes that can see. You have intelligence and you have perception. You're able to recognize what's wrong because of what the righteousness that you have sitting up inside. So do you really need a book? Do you really need to belong to a religion? Because what difference does it make? We've had all of this information. Has it done us any good? It hasn't done us any service but separated us. So what are we going to do? This is our earth. This is our home. We have to invest in it. And the best way that we can invest in it is to invest in one another. Let's start healing one another's pains and stop causing the pains of the world. And I'm only speaking this way is because that's where I'm at right now. That's where I'm at right now. I'm only interested in bettering humanity and not harming humanity. And my big mistake is expecting everyone else to feel as such, but information gets in the way. And if information doesn't get in the way, someone who is ambitious or jealous of you or just hate you for no reason always sabotages your efforts. And so sometimes you go into what you call an isolation period instead of you perceiving it as having that one-on-one time with God. I understand that now. I totally get it. So things will get better. It's up to us to make it better. The only way that humanity is going to get better, we have to become better human beings. Now, most people may say, "Oh, that stuff is corny that he's talking." That's the perception of this generation. However, this generation is lost. It's the reason why they're perceiving it that way. And do I point the finger at them or what their condition is? No. I pointed at me. I'm responsible for the way that they're thinking because I was here before them. So you so-called elders, older people, let's put away this stick and this billy club that we have towards this current generation and say, these kids today ain't no good. There's good in them. So you can't say there's no good in them because God doesn't create anything that is all bad, because that would accuse the Creator of being all bad. These kids and this generation, and even some of their parents, are lost. This is why the information and the example that He gave us should encourage you to go out and make the world a better place, make the environment a better place, that you may be able to be comfortable existing in it, instead of you walking, You looking over your back, you know, you going to the store. It's your fault that you feel like that. Take responsibility instead of condemning these young people. Help them. Help them. Well, sometimes you can't talk to them. Don't blame them. That's something that you have to work on because you can communicate with anyone. The reason why a whole lot of us fail to get across to them because we've already condemned them. You've already condemned, and you can't help what you've already condemned. Stop worrying about your life and your organism. You have to make a sacrifice. You have to make a sacrifice. And we all have to make internal sacrifices for one another. The only way that society is going to become better, we have to love ourselves and allow ourselves to become better human beings. Better human beings.